Hey guys, welcome back to another video where we are going to look at AgilePoint NX connector for Mailchimp. Mailchimp is a marketing automation platform and email marketing service for managing mailing lists and creating email marketing campaigns to send to customers. Let's look at this connector in action. So I'm currently in my demo environment. Now before we start integrating with Mailchimp, the first thing we have to do is to create an access token. I can create an access token at a global level and share it across applications, or I can create it at an app level to restrict it to an app scope. In my case, I'm going to create it at global level. So I'm going to go to Manage, App Builder, Global Access Tokens, click Add Token, search for Mailchimp, select it, click Next. Now it is going to ask me to give a token name. I'm going to give a token name over here. Next, it is going to ask me for client ID, client secret ID, and Mailchimp API endpoint. So we are going to now navigate to Mailchimp over here to get those values. Now the first thing is for the API endpoint, you can just copy the URL from here. Whatever is your data center, you can use that part. You can copy this URL and just change admin to API. So the URL format is your data center name .api.mailchimp.com. Next, we have to get the client ID and client secret. So I'll again go back to Mailchimp. Click on your profile, account, extras, API keys, developing an app. I'm going to give it an app name. So my demo app, some description, company name, website, a redirect URI. In order to get the redirect URI, navigate back to Manage Center, copy the redirect URI from the token screen and paste it over here and click Create. So the new token has been created at this point of time, and you can then find your client ID and client secret. So I'm going to first copy my client ID, and next I'm going to copy the client secret over. And once this has been done, we can click on. So I'm going to click this button to get OAuth token. It would ask me to log in. So I'm going to log into Mailchimp to authorize this. And we'll click on Allow. And once I do that, I got back an OAuth2 access token, which I can just save over here. Now, once the access token has been created, now next we are going to navigate to App Builder and look at what all activities are available. So within the Mailchimp activity group, there are 15 activities which are available. I'm going to demonstrate 13 of them. The two which I'm not going to include today is create audience and delete audience. I'm using a trial environment of Mailchimp, and you can only have one audience which I have already created over here, and you cannot delete an audience if you have used it in last 7 days. So those are the two which I'm not going to demonstrate as part of the flow. Rest of the activities I'm going to show today. So I'll start with a form where I'm going to update an existing audience, and I'm going to, if you see over here, if I go to all contacts under audience, I have an audience which is called target marketing audience. Now I'm going to update this information, and if I go in over here, I can see some additional details as well. There is an audience name, default from name, default from email address, default email subject. So I'm going to update some of these. So the way it works is drag and drop the update audience activity. Audience is nothing but a list in Mailchimp. So you can connect to Mailchimp using the access token, select your audience from the drop down, or it can be a variable as well. Under the audience tab, you can give it a new audience name. Whichever field you are going to provide, that would be updated. You can leave any of these blank if you didn't want to update it. So I'm going to update the audience name, the permission reminder. So at the bottom of an email, it tells you how you got registered in the list whenever an email is sent out of Mailchimp. So that is what is called permission reminder. So that would show up. Email subscribe to notification, email unsubscribe notification to, And there are some checkboxes over here, so you can look at those settings. I can register also a sender contact for this list, so I can map some of these properties, and a campaign can be associated with the list as well. So those are the properties which are available for update and then update audience activity. Now next I'm going to have back-to-back activities in this case to read the audience back. So reading the audience back is pretty straightforward configuration. All you do is connect to Mailchimp, select an audience name, it could have been a variable, and then you just specify a mapping. On the left hand side what you see is the audience mapping which is coming back from Mailchimp, and on the right hand side what you see is the process and form fields available within AgilePoint. Now once that data has been retrieved, I'm going to show it on the form. Next we are going to move to managing some of the subscribers. So in case of Mailchimp, subscribers are added within these contact lists. So you can see currently I have these 3 subscribers over here, and these contacts can be in various statuses. It can be subscribed, unsubscribed. I'm going to just add them as subscriber initially. So that's what this add subscriber is doing. Again, connect to Mailchimp, provide my list name over here. On the basic section, I can provide the new email address, any tags I want to associate with this person, preferred email format, HTML or text, any profile information. For initial part, I'm going to leave the profile information empty. I'm going to just register him. And then on the next form, I'm going to update the user's information. In update user information, what I'm doing over here is, again, pretty similar configuration. I select the list. This time I specify the name of the person who I'm or email ID of the person whom I'm updating. Under basic section, if I wanted to update the person's email ID, I can provide that. Tags, preferred email format. But in my case, I'm only updating the first name and the last name, which I'm going to capture from one of the forms. Now it could have been any number of custom properties over here. There's a whole bunch of custom properties which are available. I can update any one of these. Now next I'm going to unsubscribe that contact. So these are again back-to-back actions I'm performing over here. So I updated the subscriber and I'm going to immediately unsubscribe it. So I connect to Mailchimp, select the audience, and then provide the email ID of the subscriber which needs to be unsubscribed. Next, I'm going to get all contacts, whether they are subscribed or unsubscribed, and show it on the form. So I'm going to connect to Mailchimp, connect to the audience, and then in the response mapping, I just have a repeating array which I have because it would return back multiple rows, and I mapped it to a repeating subform in my case. So once I've showed that data on my form, next I'm going to start managing campaigns. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a campaign. A campaign is available within this section in Mailchimp. So you can see currently there is one campaign which is available. So in create campaign, connect to Mailchimp again using access token. Now I can specify a campaign type as regular or plain text, provide a campaign name, list which would be associated with this campaign, email subject, preview text, from name, reply to. I can select a template. There are a whole lot of templates available. I selected a template called AgilePoint demo template, and once the campaign has been created, I store the response back in a process variable called campaign ID. Next, I'm going to update the campaign details with some of the new information. Now, what I'm doing is, if you remember in the previous step, I captured the campaign ID. So I'm pointing to the same campaign and giving it a new name, preview text, email subject, and I'm going to update those information. Next, I'm going to get the campaign. So it reads out the campaign details based on the campaign ID, which was selected in the previous step. And in the response, I just do a quick mapping over here between the campaign schema as well as my process and form schema. Now once that has been displayed on the form, we are going to send out a campaign. So previously we created a campaign, updated it, retrieved it. Now we are sending it out. All we need is the campaign ID. Now sending a campaign is a time-taking task. It usually takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Once it, depending on the number of contacts, it might take even more. And once that has been done, I'm going to resend a campaign. So you can decide to resend a campaign. In this case, what happens is behind the scene, Mailchimp would create a new campaign. So I've provided the original campaign ID, and whatever is the new campaign ID would be stored in this variable. Finally, I'll start cleaning up. So I'm going to delete a campaign. Now connect to Mailchimp and provide the campaign ID which you want to delete. I'm going to create the newly created campaign. I would just delete that one. And finally, I'm going to delete the newly created contact as well. So all I need to do is provide the audience name and the contact email. Now this does accept multiple email IDs. It can be a semicolon delimited list. Now, as I mentioned, the two activities which I have not shown is the create audience and delete audience, because my trial environment allows only one list or audience. So I'm going to just show you the configuration. So the way it works is you are going to connect to Mailchimp, and then you can provide the audience name, permission reminder, text over here, which I'm going to show you what permission reminder actually does later on in my demo. And various fields. You can set up sender contact, campaigns, and whatever response is coming back, you store it in a variable that what is the new audience ID which is generated. Similarly, when you are doing a delete audience, you're going to connect to Mailchimp and just provide the audience ID or name over here. So you can just use a variable, or you can select it from a drop down in as well. In my case, I cannot do that because, as I mentioned, if you have actively used a list and within last 7 days, it doesn't let you delete it. So I'm going to skip these two steps as part of my demo. Now I have already published this process out. So I'm going to show you how to run this. I'm going to switch to Work Center, bring up a form. I'm going to give a new audience name. I'm going to call it AgilePoint Demo. Permission reminder. I'm going to quickly copy piece of text. So this is a text which I want to see on each of these emails sent out from this list. So I'm going to just provide the default text. Company, I'll just say this is AgilePoint. I'm going to put some values over here for city, postal code, and state. Country is USA. Subject is demo subject. From name is John Smith. And from email ID is john@agilepoint.com. Click submit. Now once the form has been submitted, a process instance has been kicked off. So I'm going to go back to my task list. I'm going to open the process viewer so that we can follow along. So the form got submitted, process instance got kicked off. It went ahead and updated the audience, and these were back-to-back activities. So it retrieved the new values of the audience as well. So if I go back to Mailchimp, all contacts, under settings, audience name and default. Remember previously it was target marketing and now it is AgilePoint demo. So this got updated. New from name is set to John Smith. New ID is there as well, email ID, and the new subject has been updated. Now if I go back to my process viewer, we'll drill down into this task and open the form. So you can see all the information which I entered has been retrieved back from Mailchimp as well. So next I'm going to add a subscriber. I'm going to add a new person, say Steve Smith at AgilePoint.com. Click submit. So once the add subscriber activity has been executed, if I go back to Mailchimp, go to all contacts, you can see there is a new contact called Steve Smith at AgilePoint.com. He's marked as subscribe, but his first name and last name is empty at this point of time. So we are going to change that. We are going to go back to Process Viewer, open the Update Subscriber form, and we are going to give him a name and click Submit. Now there are three back-to-back activities which got executed. First, it updated the subscriber with the first name, last name information. It also marked it as unsubscribed and also got all the contacts from the list, which will eventually show on the form. Now let's look at Mailchimp. At this point of time, we are going to go ahead and click refresh. So as you can see, the first name, last name got updated, and also this person is now unsubscribed. We're going to go back to Process Viewer, open the form, and all the contacts have been retrieved, including the new one which I created, which is Steve Smith in this case. Now next we are going to start creating a campaign. So I'm going to call it Demo Campaign. Email subject would be Demo Subject Line. From name, we'll just call it, say, David Warner. And reply to would be an email address. I'm going to just say david@agilepoint.com. Click submit. So it goes ahead and executes the create campaign activity. If we go back to Mailchimp under campaigns, all campaigns, you can see the demo campaign now has been created. It's currently in draft status. And we can see that we have set the subject line, the content has been set as well. Now what we are going to do is we are going to go to Process Viewer and update these values. So we are going to just call it new demo campaign. Demo subject line updated. And for preview text, we are going to just say demo preview text for now. Click submit. Again, there are two back-to-back activities over here. One which updated the campaign and the second one which got the campaign information. So if we go back to Mailchimp, click refresh. So as you can see, the subject line got updated. Also the campaign name got updated as well. If we go back to Process Viewer, open the form, you can see the information got retrieved about this campaign using the get campaign activity, including the campaign ID. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. So now as we see, the send campaign activity has been executed. So if we go back to Mailchimp, campaign, all campaigns, it is right now in sending status. Now this step might take a couple of minutes. Now once the campaign has been successfully sent out, the status changes to sent. And if you switch to one of the mailboxes over here, you can see that I received an email with the template which was provided. The permission reminder has been included, and also all the company information which I added as part of the whole process. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Process Viewer, and in the meantime my recent campaign activity has been executed as well. So if I go back, look at the campaigns, There's a new campaign which was resent and it's right now in sending status. Now in the meantime, it also went ahead and deleted the original campaign, which you can see that the original campaign has been deleted from the list. And finally, it deletes the contact as well. If we go back to the Mailchimp over here, under all contacts, you can see that Steve Smith user was deleted from here. So with this, we come to the end of this demo. Thanks a lot for your time.